Hey everyone, if speaking English more fluently is something you're working on, you're in the right place.
This is going to be good.
Today, we're diving deep into this YouTube video I found from Easy English Talk.
Right.
It's called Why You Pause When You Speak English and How to Stop. And it's like they're having a conversation, just like we are.
Makes it super relatable, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they really get into some stuff I think we've all felt, like why do we get those pauses? What causes those moments when you just can't get the words out?
I think we all have those moments.
All the time. I remember feeling that way when I was trying to learn Spanish.
Oh,
My
totally.
brain would totally freeze up.
Yeah.
And they talk about four main reasons for those pauses.
Okay.
Lack of confidence, not having the right vocabulary at hand, overthinking, and just being nervous.
Right. Which makes sense, right? If you're not confident about the words you know,
Yeah.
you're going to overthink things and probably translate in your head instead of just thinking in English directly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you get more nervous and the pauses get worse.
It's like a vicious cycle.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can just feel it happening, you know?
Uh-huh.
And so then the video goes on to give 4 techniques for actually reducing those pauses.
Okay.
So the first one is to try to think in English directly as much as possible.
Yeah.
And they suggest practicing by describing your surroundings.
Okay.
Even if it's just really basic, simple sentences, just to kind of get your brain
Yeah.
used to being in English mode.
It's kind of like getting off that crutch of, always translating from your native language.
Yes.
It's like just be in English as much as possible.
Exactly.
Switch the brain over.
Yeah. Because translation takes so much time, it's like our brains aren't meant to do that
Right.
so rapidly,
Yeah.
The second technique is using these little filler words that native speakers use all the time,
Right.
and well, and,
Right, yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Which at first I was like, huh,
That seems counterintuitive, right?
yes. The goal is to eliminate those, right?
Well, but they're super useful because they give you that little, microsecond to think
Oh, okay.
without actually interrupting the flow of the conversation.
It's true.
And it sounds way more natural than dead silence, You're just
Yeah.
It shows you're still engaged.
It makes sense.
It's okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm still here.
Okay, so instead of stressing about sounding super polished,
Right.
you can use those fillers to just keep things going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep it moving.
Okay. The third technique is called shadowing.
Oh, yeah.
And I've tried this before,
Yeah.
but I've never really understood why it works.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
So basically you listen to a native speaker
Okay.
and you just try to repeat what they're saying, as closely as you can, even their rhythm and intonation,
Oh, wow.
It's basically training those neuromuscular pathways.
Right.
Yeah, all that stuff that's involved in speech production.
Oh, wow.
So you're basically training your brain and your mouth
Wow.
to work together faster and more efficiently.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then the fourth technique, and this one's my favorite, is about letting go of needing to be perfect.
Ah, yes.
They actually encourage making mistakes.
No, because so many people get hung up on that.
I know.
They're oh, I have to be perfect.
Yeah,
But that fear is actually what makes you pause and stumble more.
that's true.
It's mistakes are just part of the process.
That's true. It's like learning anything. You
Oh,
have
yeah.
to be willing to mess up.
Exactly. You can't learn if you don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's they say in the video, they have a great quote, every mistake helps me learn.
Love that.
So key.
Okay, so those are the four techniques for reducing pauses.
Right.
But then they go even deeper.
Okay.
And they talk about how to actually train your brain for faster speech.
Cool.
So they have 4 methods for that.
Yeah.
Learning phrases, not just words.
Okay.
Active listening,
Okay.
conversation,
Okay.
anticipation,
Uh-huh.
and imitating native speakers.
Lots to unpack there. Let's start with the phrases versus words.
Okay, yeah.
What's the difference there?
So they were saying that instead of just learning the word opinion,
Okay.
you would learn the phrase in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. So it's you already have that chunk.
Yeah, you don't have to think about putting those individual words together,
Exactly.
It's a pre-built block of language.
It's so smart. Okay,
Okay.
what about active listening?
Okay, so active listening is you're not just passively listening.
Uh-huh.
You're really engaging with what you're hearing. Paying attention to Like, not just the words, but also the rhythm, the intonation, the way they're using their voice.
Oh, okay.
And the more you do that,
Yeah.
your brain actually starts to get better at predicting patterns in English.
Oh.
So it can kind of like anticipate what's coming next, which helps with fluency a lot.
Oh, it's like your brain becomes a fluency detective.
Exactly.
Okay, so you have to learn phrases,
Right.
active listening, and then what was that third one? Conversation and anticipation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is kind of fun. It's like a game.
Okay.
When you're listening to someone speak,
Yeah.
try to guess what the next word or phrase is going to be.
Oh.
So you're kind of like staying ahead.
Like that?
It makes it more active and engaging.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what was that last brain training method?
The last one was imitating native speakers.
Okay.
So, find someone whose speaking style you really like a
Yeah.
podcaster or an actor or a YouTuber, and pay attention to how they speak, their rhythm, their intonation, their pacing.
Right.
And then you can start to incorporate those elements into your own speaking.
Oh, it's like becoming a vocal chameleon.
Totally.
Wow, that's fun.
You're absorbing all the good stuff from the people you admire.
I like that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of techniques for, reducing pauses and training our brains for faster speech. But how do we actually put this all into practice?
Right. We need action steps.
I'm ready for action.
Me too.
Okay. So I know that the video actually gives some concrete exercises, right?
They do.
Like what are some exercises that can help me, break through these pauses?
Yeah. So they outline 4 key exercises.
Okay.
They're all really straightforward and effective.
Okay.
The first one is called the 1-minute speaking challenge.
Okay. What's that?
So you literally pick a topic and you talk about it for a full minute, nonstop.
Okay, so if you can't think of anything.
Don't stop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the point is you just got to keep talking, even if you make mistakes.
Oh, that sounds intimidating. What if I can't think of anything to say for a whole minute?
Well, start small. You could start with 30 seconds.
Right.
And then just gradually increase the time as you get more comfortable.
Okay.
And pick easier topics at first.
Right.
Like your daily routine or your favorite hobbies.
Oh, okay.
Just anything to kind of get those words flowing.
So you build up that stamina.
Exactly. Fluency stamina.
Okay. What's the next exercise?
The next one is story retelling.
Oh, okay.
And this one's great for fluency and vocabulary.
Okay.
So basically, you listen to a short story.
Yeah.
Could be from a podcast or book, even just a scene from a movie or something.
Right.
And then you retell it in your own words.
Okay.
So it forces you to really think in English.
Yeah.
And pull those words and phrases from your memory.
I like that. I've never thought about it that way, but it makes a lot of sense. What's next?
The third exercise is called speed conversation practice.
Speed conversation.
Yeah.
So this is all about thinking and responding really quickly.
Okay.
So you set a timer, 2 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a conversation with a friend or a family member.
Right.
Where you just speak as fast as you can without overthinking.
Okay. What if I don't have someone to practice with, though?
Talk to yourself.
Really?
Yeah. In the mirror, no excuses.
I love that.
No excuses.
What's the last exercise? This one uses a little technology.
Okay.
It's using speech-to-text apps.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just speak into your phone, and it transcribes your words, and it's a great way to get feedback on your pronunciation and fluency.
That's so smart. I never thought to use those for fluency practice.
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
But a lot of them will even, analyze your speech and highlight areas where you might be stumbling or mispronouncing things.
Wow. So helpful. Okay, so we've got techniques for reducing pauses,
Yeah.
brain training methods, and now these concrete exercises.
It's like a whole toolkit
Yeah.
for fluency.
But there's one more, really important thing
Oh, there is.
that this video talks about, and it's mindset.
Oh, mindset. Okay.
It's not just about techniques and practice. It's about
Yeah.
how you approach the whole process of speaking,
Totally. I've definitely noticed that my confidence level, really affects how smoothly I can speak.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are those mindset shifts we need to make?
So they talk about 3 key shifts.
Okay.
The first one is all about embracing your mistakes.
Okay.
It's instead of fearing them,
Yeah.
you got to welcome them. They're like stepping stones to fluency.
Mistakes are how we learn. Right.
Exactly. They're giving you information about where you need to improve.
Okay.
And then the second mindset shift is about focusing on communication over perfection.
Oh.
It's remember, the whole point of language is to connect with other people.
Yes.
And express yourself. It's not about sounding like a textbook.
That's such a good reminder. It's
Yeah.
so easy to get caught up like in sounding perfect.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you're right. It's about getting the message across.
yeah. What's that third mindset shift?
Okay.
The third one is about speaking with confidence.
Oh, okay.
So even if you don't feel 100% confident yet,
Right.
projecting that air of like self-assurance
Yeah.
can actually make you sound more fluent.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's like if you act confident,
Right.
people will believe you,
Yeah.
even if you're still like working on your skills. And that
Uh,
confidence can help you relax,
yeah.
which will actually improve your fluency anyway.
It all kind of ties together.
It really does.
Wow. Okay, so we've got these three powerful mindset shifts,
Yeah.
embracing mistakes, prioritizing communication over perfection, and speaking with confidence.
Big ones.
Mindset is so huge, I think.
It is. And it's something a lot of people don't really think about.
This has been so insightful. I'm already feeling like more empowered to kind of,
That's great.
take my English speaking to the next level.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm really impressed with how much practical advice they packed into this one video.
You're a good one.
And speaking of taking action, the video ends with a really clear call to action
Oh, they do?
to actually do something with this advice.
Nice.
So I'm excited to hear about that.
Me too.
What do they want us to do?
So they say just pick one thing,
Okay.
like one technique or exercise that we've talked about today,
Yeah.
and commit to practicing it this week.
Okay.
Just one.
That's doable.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
I like that. Small steps, right?
The small steps, consistency,
Yeah.
the more you actually use the language in a deliberate way,
Yeah.
the more comfortable and fluent you're going to become.
So just to recap, we started by looking at those common reasons why people pause.
Right.
And then we went into all those practical techniques to reduce those pauses, like thinking in English directly,
Yeah.
using those filler words.
Yeah, strategically.
Yeah. And then we even talked about
Mhm.
the science behind why shadowing is so effective.
It's cool, right?
Yeah. It's I never knew that. So that was really cool.
And those brain training methods, too, like
Yeah.
the phrases, the listening, anticipating conversations,
Yeah.
imitating speakles you like.
It's like working out those fluency muscles in your brain.
Exactly.
And then we've got those 4 exercises like
Yeah.
the 1-minute challenge,
Yeah.
story retelling,
Yeah.
speed conversation,
Yep.
and using those speech-to-text apps.
Right, for feedback.
Yeah.
It's a really, comprehensive approach
Yeah,
to fluency, I think.
Yeah.
And they go beyond just the technical stuff, too,
Yeah, right, like those mindset shifts.
Yeah, those are so important.
Yeah, embracing mistakes, prioritizing communication over perfection,
Yep.
and speaking with confidence.
Even if you don't feel it yet, right?
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, it sounds like mindset is just as important as the techniques,
It really is, yeah. And the video ends with them encouraging people to subscribe to their channel
Oh, cool.
for more tips on speaking English fluently.
Right.
And they ask viewers to leave a comment about their biggest speaking challenges.
That's a great idea.
I think that's a great idea, too, because we'd love to hear from you, too.
Yes.
Like, what resonated with you the most
Yeah.
from this episode?
Yeah, what are you going to try this week?
Exactly. We want to know so we can make these deep dives,
Yeah.
even more relevant
Yeah, totally.
and helpful for everyone.
Yeah, so we've explored a lot of techniques and strategies today.
Right.
Like thinking in English, using filler words, shadowing, embracing those mistakes.
Lots of good stuff.
So what are you curious about?
What are you feeling inspired to try? As you continue your English fluency journey, just remember that it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Be patient with yourself, celebrate the progress you're making,
Yes.
and most importantly, have fun along the way.
It's cool to hear that other people are, going through the same thing.
Right. It's like you're not alone in this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is that there's not one magic bullet.
Right. It's not like do this one thing and you'll be fluent.
Yeah.
Fluency is about trying different techniques and strategies and figuring out
Yeah.
what works best for you and then being consistent.
Absolutely. And I think this video gives us a really good toolkit to experiment with.
Yeah, a great starting point for sure.
All right. So, do you have any final thoughts you want to share before we wrap up?
I think the most important thing, and they touched on this in the video too, is to be patient.
Yeah.
Learning a language takes time.
Right.
There will be days where you feel like, oh, I'm making so much progress.
Yeah.
And then there'll be days where you're like, ugh, I'm so stuck.
I feel that.
But the key is to just keep going.
Yeah. Just keep practicing and, experimenting.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to, like, reach out for support.
Right.
There are so many resources out there.
There are.
Like the Easy English Talk channel, you can watch more of their videos.
Right.
Obviously, you can listen to more of our deep dives,
Yes.
and you can connect with other English learners.
Right. Like having that community is so important.
It is. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah. So before we sign off, we want to leave you with a question to think about.
Okay.
Hit us with it.
What, from all the techniques and the exercises we've talked about today,
Yeah.
sparked your curiosity the most? Like, what are you feeling most excited to try?
Right. What are you going to go do right now
Yes.
after you finish listening to this?
You want to know, so share your thoughts with us,
Well, in the comments, on social media,
wherever you find us.
wherever. Yeah.
And remember, the more you practice, the more confident and fluent you're going to become. So keep up the amazing work.
Yes. We're all in this together.